So, so I would like to firstly thank Report Foundation for providing me a financial support to do this project and other stakeholders such as Tara Fishing Cat Project and other organizations as well for helping me indirectly and indirectly. So before delving more into the topic, now firstly I would like to talk a few things about the fishing cat. Uh, Regarding the fishing cat, it is one of the elusive species which are mostly found in wetlands and marshy lowland of South and Southeast Asian countries. Mostly their habitats are associated with vegetated areas near water, rivers, and streams, and they have been found to be recorded uh, in wetlands of eastern Pakistan, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and other countries as well. Talking about the fishing cat in Nepal, this cat species is commonly known as Malaha biralo, which is also a fish-eating cat, exactly in Nepali. So their habitat range has been actually distributed uh, in the entire wetlands of the Tarai region of Nepal. However, their presence has been documented in several protected areas of Nepal. The first thing, they are found in Chittor National Park, Berde National Park, Suklafata National Park, Kosi Tapu Wildlife Reserve, and Persa National Park as well. So talking about the morphology of fishing cat, it is a medium-sized cat species which has a gray-brown coat with a distinctive black spot and stripes. Now around 6 to 8 black lines run from his forehead to his neck and breaking into shorter bars and spots on his shoulders. Actually, this cat has a short limbs and stocky body, and unlike many other cats, they are excellent swimmers and can catch their prey by swimming. Now, also talking about the feeding habits, the fishing cat is actually a generalist, which generally means that it is opportunistically feed on whatever it is available. So, however, the primary food is fish, and they has also been seen preying on lizard, amphibians, and also feeding on livestock, especially poultry. So, why this fishing cat conservation project has been started, or why did I start a conservation project in Nepal and the Chittor National Park? The first thing is fishing cat is actually listed in a vulnerable category of IUCN Red List. So that means in globally, its population has been declining. So its conservation is a very important part that must be addressed. The first reason is that, and the second reason is the status of fishing cat is poorly studied in the area of CNP, which means there are only the oldest data and also the status regarding its presence, which is outside of the protected areas, are not well known. So in this project, I have addressed the status of both fishing cat in both inside as well as outside of the protected areas. We're talking about the threats of the fishing cat. Generally, this species has been going into threat because of habitat loss in wetland and because of the depletion of the main prey fish, and then comes the retaliatory killing by the people. And another one is the main problem, which is pollution and invasive species such as jolkumbi, which is also a water hyacinth. So, in the project area, I have selected the Chittor National Park, which is displayed or shown in the borderline as in red in color. And in the orange in color, I have chosen the Kasara sector of Chittor National Park as the main project area. Since the Chittor National Park is a very huge area, the conservation measure as well as the research implementation can be quite challenging to cover the large areas. So I have focused on this sector of the park. So talking about the Chittor National Park, it is very well flourished area, having a large number of flora and faunal diversity. Generally, according to the Department of National Park and Wildlife Conservation, there are about 75 mammalian species, 643 bird species, 121 fishes, 206 butterfly species, and 422 plant species. So basically, the Chittor National Park is very great for different wildlife as well as for faunal community. So regarding the study, regarding the project, there are two phases. The first phase was the research phase. In the research phase, I tried to locate or study the fishing cat by using camera trap method, science survey method, and then questionnaire surveys. So basically, the camera trap was actually installed in the camera trap station by means of using 2x2 kilometer grid, where there were 10 pairs of cameras which were used, and each pair was used in a one single 2x2 kilometer grid. And as you can see on the spot, there are 3 locations from which we were able to capture the images of fishing cat. So however, we also incorporate the science survey method. Basically, we use this method in order to find the portable or possible location where we can install the camera trap. So with the help of this sign, we also identified that the areas is particular is habitat of the fishing cat species. Now, since in this phase, the local knowledge was very important, so we use a local resource person in order to identify the location to station the cameras. Now, in another phase of the research, we also did the questionnaire survey. Generally, the questionnaire survey was done to find the status of fishing cat, not just inside, but outside of protected areas close to the park as well. The questionnaire survey were all done at the buffer zone of the Kasara sector. So we did the survey to the park official, fishing cat community people, then students, and other job holders such as guides and local farmers. Basically, initially during our question survey, we were surprised that actually most of the people that were living close to the park area, they were unaware of the type of, they were unaware about the fishing cat existence, or most of the people, they were confused with fishing cat with the other forest cat species such as jungle cats. So we try to show them the kind of species by using the posters or photos first, and then ask the question about its presence, whether the fishing cat were present in the human dominated landscape or the locality, near locality or not. We use this questionnaire method to find whether there were conflict that have been happening in their locality. And as a result, we found that most of the people, they have actually seen the fishing cat, but they were just confused whether with the other cat species. So after showing the photograph, people say that they have seen it, and around 5% of the people say that they have seen the species in the human dominated landscape, and about 20% of the people say that they have just heard that the species exists, and 74% people, they have never seen nor heard the existence of the species in that landscape. So we also try to address the conflict situation within the buffer zone area. So based on the questionnaire survey, we try to analyze whether there were a real conflict that were happening within the park or not, since the conservation won't be of success if there isn't there isn't initial research, or whether there won't be success if there won't be a conflict. So firstly, we try to address whether there is conflict or not. So based on it, about 16% people told that they has seen the conflict happening, and around 40% they say they were in conflict with the fishing cat, and 40% of people, they don't even know whether the conflict exists or not. So after analyzing all of this questionnaire survey, we found that there exists a conflict within that has been happening outside of the protected areas. The people have seen the fishing cat, and there have also been certain interaction between people and fishing cat as well. Since fishing cat, they most of the people, they told that they have seen the fishing cat during the rice harvest, which is during the month of July and August. So during that time, they have seen that the fishing cat are found or seen during in their field areas just to eat the mice. And also there were certain family members who have seen the fishing cat take their livestock, so they do have a negative perception regarding the species. So using the conservation measure, we try to change those perception of the people. So as matter of fact, the conservation of fishing cat is very much important at this point of time, because without the community level without the community level or community participation, the conservation will be quite challenging. So to address it, we first did the awareness campaign in the community level. We interacted with the local community people and gave a training to local leaders so that they can share the knowledge and show the problems to the local community members, and also disseminate the ideas of fishing cat conservation to larger audience. So basically, at the right side, we try to teach the local community people about the use of camera trap method and their roles and responsibility that they can do as a citizen scientist. So regarding the conservation phase, we were more focused on the school conservation awareness program as well. Now, during this phase, we did a conservation awareness program in 10 different schools, and the children were from class 6 to 9. And we generally did this by interacting directly with the students and showing them the videos, posters, and other conservation materials, just to make them aware that the fishing cat do exist in their surrounding, and the species is very important for the ecosystem as well as for the future generation. So we try to address the conservation measures as much as possible through the students. So based on this conservation program, now it was a really success since it all met our objective. The first objective was to share our knowledge to larger audience about the existence of the fishing cat in their community, and second was to change the perception of the people, or show the people that the fishing cat is not a threat but a friendly to local farmers. And also the species has been declining progressively, so it must be conserved. We give this kind of message to the people or student through this program. So as a way forward, we were more focused on giving the awareness program at this phase of project, but in later we still had to do more awareness program regarding the prevention of human fishing conflict. And since most of the people that are living are close to the national park are dependent on wetland, so there might be a negative interaction between them. So it can only be reduced by diminishing or by reducing the dependency of people towards the wetland. And the main threat, as we have talked about, is a habitat loss. So as a way forward, the habitat loss should be addressed by maybe planting the trees, and also by cleaning the wetland areas. And moreover, the capacity building of program is very important in the project area. It's because most of the people, they are more dependent on the wetland, and if their capacity is developed, then they can do other jobs rather than depend on it. I have just tried to show a few of the updates that I have done during my project phase, and thank you so much for it. So I will leave for it.
Thank you, Mr. Maharajan. And the audience, if you have any questions, you can direct to Mr. Maharajan. He's online.